outside the Supreme Court for us this morning. Kelly, great to see you. Again, a sharply divided decision coming from this court.
And this one, we expected this one to be sharply divided, Tony. It was a 5-4 decision. Basically, the justices said that it is a violation of a constitution to tell D.C. residents that they could not own a handgun. Very divisive here. There are people on both sides of this issue clamoring outside the Supreme Court. They were waiting and waiting for this decision, very highly anticipated. Let me read a little bit of that ruling to you, Tony. Justices say we are aware of the problem of handgun violence in this country, but the enshrinement of constitutional rights necessarily takes certain policy choices off the table. In plain English, D.C. officials said this is good policy. We have a violent crime problem here in the district. We want to restrict the amount of guns on the street. Justices said no, the Constitution trumps your right to make policy. But I will also tell you that the justices also say that that right is not unlimited. It's not a right that you can keep and carry any weapon whatsoever in any manner whatsoever. And Tony, what this is referring to are those regulations that are in place to keep guns from the mentally ill, for example, to keep a ban on assault weapons, to allow for background checks. As Justice Scalia pointed out, look, having a handgun in your home for protection is reasonable, but you know there are other things like an assault ban, weapons ban that are also reasonable. So it's not like they're saying any and all guns. You know, it's a free-for-all. Welcome to the Wild West. What they're saying is that, look, you know, a handgun, having a handgun in your house for protection, which is what those D.C. residents wanted, the ones who came and joined the suit against that ban, he says that is reasonable.
Hey, Kelly, I got to ask you, but this has been a decades-long debate, the interpretation of the Second Amendment. You know, an individual's right to bear arms,
right,
or
versus
is it
a militia right?
Yes.
Exactly.
So I'm wondering, is it a bit of a surprise that it has taken this long for a case to finally get to the Supreme Court for this kind of a ruling?
Well, you know, yes. I mean, a lot of people said, is this really the first time that the Supreme Court is ruling on the Second Amendment? Well, the answer is yes, it is the first time. And you know, I have it right here, and it does say, and a lot of people, you know, we all don't memorize our amendments, but what it says is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. So, of course, people say, well, is it the right of the people, or is it the right of the militia? The militia, of course, being things like a police force. So, you know, which was it? You know, which one? And finally, we've got a decision today from the highest court in the land. It's an individual right.
And at the moment, it feels like it's settled law because at the moment it is settled law. Okay.
Right. And this ban, you know, Tony, I'll tell you, on the streets here in Washington, people are asking, what was the ruling? What was the ruling?
Wow.
Because this ban has been in place for 32
That's
years.
Right. That's right.
3 decades. And I mean, there are lots of people who passed us who weren't even born.
That's right.
You know, when, you know, without this ban in place. And, you know, so a really big day.
Okay. Our Justice correspondent, Kelly Arena, for us this morning. Kelly, it's always great to see you. We're going to talk to our senior legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin, in just a couple of moments. Joins us live, and boy, Gina, if you would, give us some of the atmospherics.
Well, I can tell you there's still quite a crowd gathered here outside the court. There is a lot of media lining the sidewalks and up near the front steps. You have a couple of members of Congress now at the mics, people who were very supportive of Mr. Heller in this suit, which tried to oversee the D.C. handgun ban. There are also a few people out here with posters, most of them also on that side of the argument here. As you said, a landmark decision here. The court, by a 5-4 decision, throwing out D.C.'s sweeping ban on handguns. Justice Scalia was the one who read the decision from the bench. There has been some discussion about whether the Second Amendment applied to militias and the right to bear arms for use in militias, or whether it was individuals. He said unequivocally this has to do with individuals in this case. However, importantly, he did note that the court did not mean to imply that anybody could have any kind of weapon any place. He still said there still were a time and a place for limitations, for instance, on people who might be felons or have mental health issues, on certain types of weapons, on carrying weapons into places like federal buildings. That all to be decided down the road by legislatures and, we presume, by other courts. There was, however, a dissent read from the bench. This is not done in every case. I'm told maybe 3 or 4 times a year. It was Justice John Paul Stevens who delivered it today. He's usually quite a calm, collected, and courtly gentleman. There was a little tension in what he had to say, a little emotion. He felt that the majority was misguided in this case. He said there is no untouchable constitutional right to keep loaded handguns in the House in an urban area. He said the court was wading into a political thicket here, one that it should stay out of. He said judicial restraint would be a far wiser course of action on this issue. He said a true conservative would be siding with him on this case, not with the majority. That clearly a jab at the conservatives on this court, including Justice Scalia. As to its practical effect, we expect to hear from D.C. officials shortly, but clearly this just throws out the window the D.C. ban on handguns. Also, a requirement that long guns in the House be disassembled or have a trigger lock on them. That also gone here today. There are other D.C. laws that may remain in effect. Both sides here trying to draw the positive out of this. Clearly, it's a win for the people who supported the individual right to bear arms, even with the limitations that the court suggested might be in play here. But people on the other side of this, people with Brady Handgun Alliance and so forth, also saying they saw some positive here because the court did say there was a place for limitations on handguns. They say we should work here for middle of the road, common sense handgun controls. Tony?
All right, Jean Meserve just outside of the Supreme Court building in Washington in D.C., and Jean was inside the courtroom as that decision was taken. Jean Meserve, thank you.
You bet.
More now on this landmark Supreme Court ruling upholding your individual right to own a gun. On the phone with us now to talk about it, the best guy we have, CNN senior legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin. Jeff, nice to have you on this. Specifically, that's really what it's about, isn't it? The Constitution trumping policy here.
Well, this is just a big, big event in American constitutional history because the Second Amendment has been a true mystery. No one really knew for decades what it meant in practical terms. Now the Supreme Court, by a margin of just 5-4, has said that there is a constitutional right to own a handgun inside the home. Now, that raises a lot of questions about the limits of this decision. I mean, how much gun control will be allowed. Certainly there is some. There was some discussion of military weapons. The court clearly is very concerned that there not be a constitutional right to own a surface-to-air missile. But how this gets translated into the real world is going to take many, many years.
Yeah, obviously that's the case. I mean, when we talk even more about it, it seems easiest to break it down by saying it's supposed to be about common sense. You heard Jean Meserve talking about that as well. Handguns in your home for self-defense, they're saying, is reasonable.
It is, but common sense means very different things to very different people.
It's pretty subjective.
So, it is very subjective, so it is going to be a struggle, I think, for the courts to tease out what the principle is that allows some sort of restrictions on some weapons while clearly giving people a core right to own handguns in their home. For example, the whole question of regulation of sales of handguns. That's something that I think is very much left open by this decision. There's also the question of what is a handgun. That is not necessarily an obvious thing. So there's a lot to be understood here. But I think gun control supporters, as we're hearing today, there is a sliver of hope that they can cling to here because some restrictions clearly will be allowed.
Yeah, obviously on that. So what do you think is going to happen next? I mean, it sounds to me like you're saying this certainly isn't a done deal. There's got to be quite a bit more detail that is actually addressed in all of this. Could this get sent back to the lower courts now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you will see is in a lot of municipalities, mostly cities, because it is mostly cities that have handgun bans, you will see lawsuits filed saying this rule, this local ordinance is unconstitutional. I expect several of these ordinances will be found unconstitutional, but then the communities that care about safety and communities that don't want the bad effects of guns will try to rewrite their regulations in line with what they think the court decided.
Right.
That's where the new lawsuits will come from. And one thing is for sure, this will take years to sort itself out.
All right. Well, glad we have you for years to come. Jeffrey Toobin, our CNN senior legal analyst. Thank you.